This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Louie T, welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 7 in the National Football League, Thursday edition of In the Lab Room. And you know what that means. We've got some Thursday night football to discuss. Thursday night showcase, New England Patriots at home hosting the New York Jets. J-E-T-S, Jets. And this is a game that I have already dubbed Sole Survivor Pick of the Week, so you know how I feel in terms of how I feel the outcome will be. However, the Jets, they know this Patriots team inside and out. So if anyone can find a way to pull an upset, it'd be a team like the Jets. It's family business. You know how that is. You know how that goes. So you can throw records out of the window is basically what I'm trying to say. And even though the Jets come into this game at 1-5, and it seems like a sinking ship right now, things could change in the matter of 1 week. This is a week-to-week league. We say it all the time, and I mean it. It's a week-to-week league. Things change very rapidly in this league. And in 1 week, you're the laughing stock of the league. You're the doormat. The next week, you're starting to build something that could potentially lead to you getting back in the discussion of being a relevant team in this league. So it always starts with one game. You can't win 5 games at once. You can only win 1. And what would be more of a morale building and a confidence building win than to go into Foxborough and beat the New England Patriots? That's easier said than done, however, if you're the Jets. The big thing here with this Jets football team, if they're going to have any chance in this game, it's simple. 2 things, 1 on each side of the football. Or actually 3. 3 things. 2 things on offense, 1 thing on defense. The biggest thing defensively, you got to get after Tom Brady. You have to make life miserable for terrific Thomas Brady. You have to get after Tom Brady and make him uncomfortable. He's been really comfortable of late. After all of the scrutiny this offensive line took, after that Chiefs meltdown on Monday Night Football, they've been pretty much lights out. Now, there was a little bit of pressure in that Bills game. He got hit. He fumbled the football. There was a little bit of pressure, but for the most part, he's had enough time to do what it is he needs to do on any given play. So, if you're the Jets, you have to get to Tom Brady. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If Tom Brady is able to do his customary, calm, jump down, pat the football, read 1, read 2, read 3, 4th read's open. If he's able to do that all night, if he's able to scan the field, be comfortable, have his nice little hop and bounce in the pocket, you're done. You can go ahead and wrap it up right now. You're finished. If you're able to get him off the spot, if he's uncomfortable, if you can get him to be erratic because the pressure, and it's got to start early. This has to be something that is shown to be a nuisance all game long, and it has to start early. You have to show him, hey Tom, we're going to be around, man. We're going to be in your face all day, so don't get comfortable back there behind the center, man. I suggest you start trying to find ways to get out of the pocket because we coming. If you show him that early, Tom will start getting erratic on you, and he'll give you opportunities. We've seen it. But if you allow Tom to be comfortable, forget about it. Forget about it. So that's the one thing offensively that the Patriots can't do. They can't have Tom Brady be comfortable. So if you're the Jets, defensively, you have to get after Tom Brady. On the offensive side for the Jets, the two things that must be done on this side of the football, one, you got to run the football. Last week, that whole trying to get Geno Smith out of a funk thing, that's cute, that's nice, but that's not who you are. Rex Ryan, since he's come to New York, has been a ground and pound head coach. His forte has always been, hey, let's not turn it over. Let's run the football. If we got to punt, so be it. We'll punt, let my defense go out on the field and play some defense. But don't turn the football over, and let's run teams and grind them into oblivion. The one win you had this season, ironically enough, came in week 1 versus the Oakland Raiders when you had your best rushing output of the season. If you can run the football, good things happen to you in this league. And it's no different for the Jets. You need Ivory to touch the ball. You need Chris Johnson to touch the ball. Hell, if Bilal Powell has to touch the football, then give it to him too. But you need to be able to run the football. You didn't do a good job of it last week. I was surprised you hung in. The defense gave you a chance. Muhammad Wilkerson, he is a beast. My goodness, I love that young fella. If you can just find a way to run the football, stay in third and manageable, I think you could be fine in this game offensively. And then, of course, the elephant in the room, the other thing that you have to do offensively is not throw interceptions via Geno. Oh, Geno. Oh, no. That guy can't show up. The Geno, oh no, he can't show up. It has to just be Geno. Just Geno. Okay? And I know that's asking a lot. I feel like going up to Geno and saying, hey man, can't throw any picks tonight. Geno's like, what? I can't throw any picks tonight? Oh, that is blasphemy. How dare you? It's almost like it's crazy talk to ask Geno to just not turn it over, man. Not asking for you to do anything big in this game. Nothing big. Just be average, dude. Hey, if it's 3rd and 5, throw a 6-yard pass. If it's 3rd and 7, hey, throw a 5-yard pass anyway and hope your receiver breaks the tackle and gets 8 yards. Why not? Look, manage the game. When Geno tries to be special, he is special. Problem is, it's in the wrong way. He needs to make sure that tonight isn't the night that he goes out and turns it over 2 times. Fumbles once, throws a pick, throws 2 picks. You can't win that way. You won't win that way, especially not on the road against a team that is better than you. The Patriots are superior to this Jets football team. So you need to play almost the perfect game on the road to have a chance to win. And those are the 3 things you got to do. You got to get after Brady defensively, and offensively you need to run the football, stay in third and manageable, which will allow Geno Smith to scale back on the risky throws and decisions, and he can't turn it over. That's your winning recipe in this game. If you're the Patriots, just keep doing what you've done the last 2 weeks, and you will win this game easily. The last 2 weeks, Tom Brady has been lights out. He's been the Tom Brady of old. Especially last week against Buffalo. That was a heck of a display because the Bills are no slouch on the defensive side of football. Yet Tom Brady was able to carve these guys up with ease. I mean, it looked like he had a huge carving knife and a nice fork in his hand, and he was just going to work on that Bills defense as if he had cooked a fresh buffalo, pulled it out of the oven, and he was carving it up. You want some? I got a little bit of gravy over here. He was carving the Bills up. If he does that again in this game, the Jets don't stand a chance. And it starts up front with that offensive line giving them time because the Jets can't get after your quarterback. Believe it or not, the Jets may not be a good team, but defensively, they're still a handful to deal with. Now, you know, they've had their games. And the thing with that Jets team is if you jump on them early, you got them. You got them. If you allow them to stay in the game and hang around, this defense can prove to be a huge obstacle and hurdle for you to have to overcome. So the best thing you can do is try to jump on them early and often and put them out of their misery quickly because the defense, if they're in the ball game, will give that Jets team a chance. If you put them out of their misery early, then the defense will take their foot off the gas pedal and you'll have free reins to do whatever it is you want to do in this football game. So that's the key for the Patriots, is just do what you've done the last couple of weeks and you'll be fine. Defensively, stop the run. Don't allow the Jets to have any crutch for Geno Smith. Make Geno Smith have to beat you. If you take the run away and Geno feels like on 3rd and 9, he needs to push the football down the field and make a play, you got him. Because he's going to, if you keep Geno Smith in 3rd and long, eventually he's going to give you an opportunity to make a play. And when it's there, just make the play. To me, this one is going to fall in line with some of the other games. Last week was an aberration. We've had blowout city all Thursday night long this season. And I expect this to kind of fall back into line with what we've had before. I think this is going to be a blowout. I really do. I think the Jets right now are struggling with an identity crisis. And I thought that the one thing that I never thought I would say with the Jets would be they had an identity crisis. They're a team that runs the football and plays defense. Last week I didn't see that. So, look, Geno Smith is going to turn it over at least once in this game. I don't know if they're going to run the football like they should or not. The Patriots have it going offensively now. Again, the wild card here is, can the Jets defense stymie this Patriots offense and keep this score down low? If this score is in the teens, low 20s, Jets have a chance. If this score is in the high 20s, low 30s, Jets don't stand a chance in bats hell. So it's really simple. Play defense, keep the score low, you got a chance if you're the Jets. If you're the Patriots, run the scoreboard up. Run it up. And there's no way the Jets can keep up with you. I've got the Patriots winning this football game 34-17 in a nice, comfortable win at home to take their record to 5-2 on the season. Meanwhile, the Jets fall to a measly 1-6. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll jump into supply and demand. Welcome back to the program. I thank you for joining me here on the Thursday edition of In the Lab Room. Time for what is quickly becoming a fan favorite here in the Lab Room, supply and demand. It's a glorified Q&A session. You have the demand and let me supply you with the answers. It's supply and demand. Not a lot of questions this week. You guys are slacking again, but it's okay. I got a few. We're going to talk about them that I have, and I want to answer the what if from last week. And then when we go to our break and come back, we'll jump into this week's what if. So, quickly, a couple of questions. We'll start with two from Robbie Sohow. And Robbie asks, which team that has never been to the Super Bowl will make it first? That's his first question. And his second question, do you think that the NFL will ever add teams in foreign countries, i.e. Toronto or London or even Mexico City? All three of those places have had NFL games in them before. So that's the second question. Let's start with the first question though. Which team that has never been to the Super Bowl will make it first? And you've got quite a few teams that have never been to the big game. A couple of them out there, but the ones that come to mind, you know, Cleveland Browns, and of course the Cleveland Browns have won world championships, never been to an NFL Super Bowl, however. And so you look at them, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars have never been there. Detroit Lions, never been to a Super Bowl. So there are some teams out there that have never actually been to a Super Bowl. Houston Texans are one as well. If you ask me right now, the way that these teams are constructed, you have to be able to play defense and you have to have a franchise quarterback. The only team of all the teams that have never been to the Super Bowl that I can think of that has that kind of formula right now would be Robbie's team, the Detroit Lions. I think that with Matthew Stafford, and he can be skittish at times, I'm still not fully 100% a Matthew Stafford guy per se, but he is the franchise guy. He's someone that you can rely on, unlike these other teams that I mentioned, Jacksonville, Houston, Cleveland. And they have a defense, and this defense is really playing some good football this year. If I had to pick a team, not saying that I feel like they're ready and equipped to go to the Super Bowl right now, but the question states, which team would make it first? If I had to pick, I'd say it'd be the Detroit Lions. If the Texans had a quarterback, one that you could rely on, one that was actually any good, they would be a scary team with J.J. Watt and Arian Foster running like he did, a couple of years ago when he was arguably one of the best backs in the league. With him doing that again, and that defense being, when they're on, that defense can be as good as any in the league. They could have had a legitimate shot, but right now, to me, the answer is the Detroit Lions. And the second question, do you think the NFL would ever add any teams in any foreign countries or cities, i.e. Toronto, London, or Mexico City? I don't think so. I think the NFL would love to. I think that's something that way down the line, maybe they might entertain doing that. But I think in the short term, I don't think it's feasible. I just don't see. Travel is one major hurdle. Having to have 8 home games in London, that's going to be a problem. You're going to have an issue with, somewhat like how the NBA first had an issue with the, Vancouver Grizzlies when they were over there, and the Toronto Raptors are still there. Players don't want to live in a different country, and it's easier to live in the city where your team is located. No one wants to live in, if I'm American and I've been here my entire life, it might be nice to visit London. I don't want to live in London. And if you're going to be spending the majority of your time there, if they're going to have the team facilities in London and this, that, and the other, I just don't see that being something that is very appealing. If I'm a free agent, I don't want to go play for the London team. I don't want to leave the United States to go play for a team in London if I'm a free agent. So that team would have to draft well, because free agents aren't going to willingly go to London. I don't think. And so that would be an obstacle. I think that logistically, I don't think it's a good fit for the league right now, but I think the league right now, their brain trust is trying to figure out ways that they can get this game to other countries and spread this and make it a worldwide game, much like the NBA is. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. And if it did go somewhere, I think it would be London. I think London is that they would be the first target for the NFL if they were to leave, let's say, Jacksonville, pick up the franchise and move it to London. That would be something that would be feasible. Toronto was close. I think of all the teams, all the places, and this is the last thing I'll say and we'll move on. Of all the places, though, the most realistic is Toronto, because it's not that far. You're a hop, skip, and a jump away from being back in the States. Toronto is the easiest move, by far. But I think the route that the NFL would like to take would be most likely London. Q-Bone Football, what up, Q? What's going on, man? I've been checking out your show, too. I like what you're doing over there, man. Got a lot of stuff going on. Check him out, man. If you haven't checked him out, check out my man Q-Bone Football. Check his channel out. Big, huge St. Louis Rams fan. But not only the Rams, this guy knows the NFL. Just like I know it, Q-Bone knows it too. Check him out. Who is the biggest draft bust in the history of the NFL? And I saw a comment on the channel when that question was posed. Someone responded to the question and said Ryan Leaf. Nope, it's not Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf wasn't even a number 1 overall selection. He was number 2, if you recall. Peyton Manning went number 1 in that draft. Ryan Leaf was number 2. The biggest, and this to me is not even up for debate. It's not even close. The biggest draft bust in the NFL history is Jamarcus Russell. And literally, he was the biggest draft bust. I mean, Jamarcus Russell raped the Raiders for as much money as you could possibly get without being any good. The kid had all the talent in the world. I remember Mike Mayock saying, and Mike Mayock still says it to this day, of all the draft workouts, of all the combine and the pro day workouts that I've ever seen, the most impressive pro day I've ever attended for a quarterback was Jamarcus Russell. The kid had talent. He didn't have it here, and he didn't have it here. Those are the two places that as an athlete you have to have it. You got to be smart, and you got to care about the game. And Jamarcus Russell never gave a damn about playing football. He only liked what came with playing football, which was the money, which was the fame and the glory. All of that stuff was appealing to him. But the actual grind of sitting in meetings and watching film and working out and doing all of the things that it takes to be a great player, he wanted no part of that. He just wanted all the things that came with it. And unfortunately, he was able to get everything that came with the game. Now, does he still have any of that stuff? I don't know. When you waste money and you do a lot of things and you spend lavishly, you run out of money quickly, but he had a lot of money. Again, that was before the rookie wage scale, so he was able to get the Raiders for a lot of money. And a lot of money he did collect before he was on his way out. And the reason why he's the biggest draft bust is because if you're a first overall selection in the draft, any draft, and honestly, doesn't matter what position you play, if you're drafted, and normally this usually extends to the whole first round. If you're a first round pick and you flame out with your initial team, normally you get at least one more chance somewhere else because you're so talented. You win in the first round. Darius Hayward-Bay was, to me, one of the worst picks in the top 10 in the last, I'd say, 5 to 7 years. Outside of Jamarcus Russell, that is. And he got ample opportunities. He's still on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster. The Colts gave him a chance. He's a first-round pick. That's what you do. David Carr struggled with the Texans. He got another chance with the New York Giants. Everybody gets another chance if you're a first-round pick. Jamarcus Russell never got. No one wanted to touch Jamarcus Russell with a 10-foot pole because he was toxic and they knew the love of the game wasn't there. To me, not even close. Jamarcus Russell, your biggest draft bust ever. Ever! And finally, our last question of the day comes from my man, Starlo. Star asks the following question. Whose seat as a head coach in the NFL is the hottest right now? And him being a Buffalo Bills fan, he had to slide this in at the end. And how is Doug Marrone's seat? So I'll answer the first half of this question and then I'll knock out the second half. Whose seat right now is the hottest? I think the coach that you'll see tonight on display, I think his seat is the hottest right now. And that would be one Rex Ryan's seat. Keep in mind, John Idzik, his general manager, didn't hire him. When he came in as the general manager, Rex Ryan was basically thrown into his lap. Here's your coach. Make it work. Every general manager that gets a job, unless the coach that's already there is a good buddy of theirs or that coach is successful and the GM that was there before retired and there's no animosity there, unless you're walking into a great situation already or you're friends with the guy that's already in place, most GMs want to get that head coach out of there. They want a new guy in there. They want their guy in there. Again, if you're in any walk of life, if I'm going to go down, if I'm going to be fired, if I'm going to not be successful, if I'm going to fail at anything, I want to fail doing it my way with my guys. So, Rex Ryan, who last year basically saved his job by going 8-8, not doing so well this year, not doing so hot, and a lot of that comes from their quarterbacking situation. And if this season continues to go the way that it's going now, they're currently 1-5 on the season. Say this team ends up 3-13. I don't see them being that bad, but it could happen. Geno Smith is their quarterback. If they were to go 5-11, Rex Ryan is definitely getting fired. Really, he needed to make the postseason this year, or at least threaten to make the postseason to keep his job. There's no way he's going to be back as Jets head coach after the season. To me, his seat is red hot right now. Is it hot enough for him to get canned during the season? I don't think so. I don't know what that does for you. Really, I don't. So I think of all the teams right now, all the coaches, his seat is hottest. And if you're talking about Doug Marrone's seat, I think his seat is lukewarm. I mean, right now, the Bills were just in the lead in the AFC East a week ago. I know it's a week-to-week league. We talk about that all the time. So, yeah, there's still no reason to panic. You lose to the Patriots. That's a tough loss because you were at home. You wanted to get that one, but you're 3-3 on the season. And the Bills' schedule isn't murderer's row, but you still got to go out and win football games. If this team wins 10 games but misses the postseason, I don't think Doug Marrone gets fired. I don't. If this team wins 10 games and they make the postseason, he's definitely not getting fired. So the question then becomes, how does the rest of this season play out for the Buffalo Bills? Because he made a very gaudy move by benching E.J. Manuel. If that were to backfire, he's definitely fired. But you know, new management comes in, you never know what's going to happen. But I'll say this much. His seat, not that hot right now. It's warm. It's not hot. It's warm. And if he continues to have this team playing competent football, I think he'll be back as the Bills head coach next season. Again, they have to be threatening to make the postseason if they don't make it. I think 9 wins is the benchmark for him. If he can get to 9 wins, I think he'll be back as Bills head coach next season. So, those are your questions today for the supply and demand segment. I love the support and I love the participation. I'm looking for more of it, however. And so, let me run over this very quickly. Last week, I gave you a what if. And the what if was simply your defense. You need a defense to get you a stop. You're up 3 points. About 1 minute and 2 seconds left in the game. Team has 84 yards of real estate in front of them. You have to not only stop them from getting a field goal, but you need to stop them from getting into the end zone and beating you in this game. What defense are you taking? I told you it was a tough question. I didn't expect it to scare all of you away, however, but nonetheless, I only got 2 responses. Michael Kane gave me a very thoughtful response, and he even broke it down into what defense he would play and all of that good stuff. But the team that he picked was the Detroit Lions. And I must say, that's not a half-bad selection as it stands right now. I think he said the thing that he was most impressed with and that he would value at that time of the game is pressure up the middle. The ability to collapse the pocket and not allow a quarterback to step up in the pocket was something that he valued at the end of the football game, all the while still having athletic enough defensive ends that could get to the quarterback if he were to try to avert the pocket. And Q-Ball Football, my man Q, said the Arizona Cardinals, another really good selection. The only thing I don't like about the Cardinals is their inability to get to the quarterback at the end of the game. In a situation like this, you need a finisher. You need a guy that you can count on. It needs to be somebody. You need one guy that can stop the quarterback from getting outside the pocket, number one. And number two, you need a guy that could get to the quarterback and end the game. It'd be nice if you had multiples, but you need a guy that can get to the quarterback. To me, right now, it's tough because there are some teams that I like their secondary. I don't like the pass rush, like the 49ers. There's some teams where I like the pass rush, don't necessarily love their secondary, like the Miami Dolphins. I'd have to say, if I had a possession this season, right now, and even though this team has allowed a team to go all the way down the field, but it was a different scenario, I think I would take the Denver Broncos right now. With Aqib Talib on one side, Chris Harris on the other side, you've got some corners that can play some man-to-man coverage. And with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware getting after the quarterback, you'd like to think that one of those guys is going to step up and make a huge play for you to end the football game. Von Miller can make sure that that quarterback doesn't get outside the pocket. I like my chances with a healthy Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware and the Denver Broncos defense. I think that would be the defense that I would take right now. It's kind of sketchy, though, because the Broncos are a team that they can hurt you, you know. They can give it up. But right now, I'd take the Denver Broncos because they can get after the quarterback and they can play man-to-man defense on the outside if need be. So that's the what-if question for answer from last week. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll wrap this episode on up. A lot of exciting things happened in week number 6 of the National Football League. Some teams shot up the charts on the Power Grid. Some have taken a huge step back. Come check out all of the movement here in the Lab Room on the Power Grid. Welcome back once again, and we're about to put a nice pretty little bow on this Thursday edition of In the Lab Room. And so quickly, want to talk to you about a what if. Last week I gave you a what if, the week before I gave you a what if, the week before that I gave you a what if. I think I like this slot as the what if slot, so time for a new what if. And this one is a simple what if, but you got to make a tough decision. And I'll allow you to fill in the blanks. I'm just going to pose the scenario. What if you're up in the football game by 3 points, 24-21. And you've got the football offensively. You're at your own 33-yard line. Team decided to kick the football off instead of onside kicking it. They kick it off. They use their They use 2 timeouts. It's 3rd and 5. They only had 2 timeouts left. 3rd and 5. And there's a minute and 27 seconds left on the clock. The clock's been stopped with their final timeout. It's 3rd and 5. Now, you can fill in the quarterback, you can fill in the offense, you can fill in all the blanks. The what if is, it's 3rd and 5. You're going up against a team whose quarterback doesn't need a lot of time to shred you, get into field goal range, potentially beat you. So the question now becomes, as the head coach, you've got the football, 3rd and 5, do you go for the kill shot, throw the football, risk stopping the clock with an incompletion, but you weigh the risk and the reward. If you catch it and pick up a first down, game's over. You take knees, you win. On the flip side of that, if it's incomplete, not only do you not run off the clock, you also give that other team who has a really good quarterback the football with about a minute and 13 seconds left with a chance to do damage. So which approach are you taking? Are you going to run the football knowing that you probably won't get 5 yards, but you'll be able to eat up 40 seconds of that clock and then punt the football, give it to that team and that quarterback that can still move it into field goal range and potentially beat you with a touchdown? Or are you going for the kill shot? Are you going for the gusto? Are you going to throw the football, risk an incompletion, and stopping the clock? But you could catch the football, pick up a first down, win the game, take knees. Which one are you electing to do? Are you playing it safe, rushing the football, forcing the team to have limited time and resources to get it done? Or are you going to not allow it to be in the hands of your defense and try to win the game on offense? Dolphins found themselves in the same scenario. They elected to run the football. It backfired. They lost the game. Now, a lot more time was left in that game. Doesn't matter. If they would have gotten the first down, they would have won the football game. Which one are you going with? What if? That's going to do it for today's episode. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me tomorrow as we recap Thursday Night Football and we jump into the Pick'em Weekly for week number 7. It's going to be a jam-packed show. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Have a good one.
In the Lab